So funny things happened, and we're going to the next step after talking about, Tenten versus Tamari and why Tenten lost. I have started noticing a pattern, right? First of all, I figure out that Tenten is not the lowest ego, that she plays a part in Rock Lee and his Ninja Pals, creating this atmosphere of little chubby, children almost like characters. And I think Tenten plays a big role into creating this atmosphere because she is acting like a child who thinks, oh, I'm gonna get this item and now I'll be able to destroy the strongest enemy in this, universe. I mean, imagine, oh, I get the diamond sword. Now I can beat everyone up. And in a way, it's true, if you can get it. But in a way, that requires skill, not only to actually use the sword, but to keep it in your possession. That requires quite a talent. And Tenten doesn't seem to have any strategy when Tamari dodges her first attack. She thinks, oh, it has something to do with her weapon, maybe? And she pretends to have a strategy, as I've said. Alright, so where is that? So Tamari is very intimidating. She's talking down on Tenten, and she's basically seemingly doing nothing but dodged Tenten's attack. So she has to really carefully anticipate Tenten's moves and read her body language. And in general, she's trying to intimidate a lot, trying to focus on Tenten and trying to control her in a psychological sense. So she's using a lot of strategy just because she's also using psychology first and then crushes the Tenten after all her shots kind of miss. So that's the strategy. And I think I figure out what Tamari's personality is and what Tenten's personality is. So as we established, Tenten is like a child personality. And child personality, I would say, is water type. Now, water means that for every single personality, I use an element. It's very easy to describe it, and also creates a very interesting dynamic between personalities. So that's where you get into relationships, right? To try to understand them. So between water and wind, which what Tamari is basically, you have wind being more powerful. And in no game you would find wind actually countering water as if it's even linked, I would say. I wouldn't say you can even find it on Google, that specifically the pattern that earth defeats wind, wind defeats water, water defeats fire, and fire defeats earth. That there is an actual circle link and it's very simple pattern. For some reason that doesn't exist. And if you really think about it, water, if you put water slightly above in the air, like create a ball of water in the air, all of a sudden you release it and it spreads out and it just splashes, right? It gets destroyed. Water cannot sustain wind. Water is quickly deformed by wind. It can be splashed and just, separated so easily by wind. Fire cannot destroy water, but wind can definitely do more effect than any other element can do, right? So I would say there is a direct link. And Tenten, being the water personality, well, she was directly countered. I think Tamari simply used her personality, and she didn't use a strategy, but she's just that type of person to talk shit on others, and it just worked perfectly. And it's funny that Shikamaru actually saw that through, and he was like, whoa, this battle is over. After the first shot that Tenten made, Shikamaru's like, how do you know? Explain it. It's too bothersome, but he said, it's over. Sand wins. So he sees that Tenten is psychologically oppressed or destroyed, and then she's also missing, so she's not even being effective with her weapons of choice. She doesn't have any strategy, and definitely a person who is full of strategy, which is Shikamaru, kind of sees how Tenten's positions where he is. And I think Shikamaru is also very good at, countering maybe Temari. I don't know. I don't really know his personality, but I don't think he has a fire personality, and definitely he doesn't have just wind. He doesn't have ego issues going up. I bet he has ego issues going down, and the only way that he could have won is if he actually possesses the earth personality, which is the counter to wind, right? The earth crushes the wind. Also, I think Hinata possesses that ability. Now, what does that have to do with Pewdiepie? Which is kind of like the whole point of the video, right? I'm trying to expose Pewdiepie. Wind has a specific trait, right? As you saw how Temari behaves, she's pretty cruel on Tenten. She's trying to manipulate her, try to control, and she's very focused. But when she also doesn't have teammates to distract her, while Tenten does have Lee not only distracting her, but being kind of an asshole. When Tenten is so low on ego, she's like, oh yeah, I can still do the best attack ever. But Lee is being an asshole. Here you go. Isn't this like the worst advice? Screaming at someone, be calm, Tenten! Jesus Christ, this is the most hypocritical thing you can actually do. You scream at someone, be calm. And having a teammate distract her like this is like, ugh. She just got stabbed in the back. And she wasn't trying to create a strategy of any kind. After the first attack, what she tried to do is just, walk around Temari, but I think she just wanted to observe her weapon, right? That's all she wanted to do. She just wanted to observe what kind of weapon she has and how she's using it. So that's all the strategy that was. And before that, she was actually counting, measuring the spaces for some big attack or whatever. So Temari is clearly reading her body language and stuff. So she's carefully observing and focusing on her opponent to try and understand, and demoralize at the same time. So that's very effective. But that's a personality again. It's a very specific strategy of cruelty, of focus control. And the first shocker is that this system, the wind, is not only just a personality, but is the whole system around us that has evolved. I call it centralism. Again, the only thing you have to do is figure out what the word is after ism. The ism is ideology that goes rampant and is kind of creating chaos in a way. Back in the day, we would have capitalism, the collection of wealth that would influence very, very heavily our society. But now we suddenly faded into centralism. And I think Pewdiepie actually is a good example of what a centralist is, who's capable of taking over YouTube, having this subscriber count where he holds the title of being #1 subscribed YouTuber. And he's not going to drop that title anytime soon because the system kind of broke itself. You know, the moment PewDiePie gets promoted, he also gets more promotion for that, for being on the first place, right? And yes, YouTube is trying to upgrade algorithm to try and counter PewDiePie, but at the same time, they allow him to exist. They allow him to rip off the system. And PewDiePie seems to always try to do that, try to rip off the system, try to make clickbait, thumbnails and 10-minute videos and all that. You know, he is notorious on that as well. We know that he's trying to do that. So that's kind of his personality, of trying to destroy the system that he's currently in. And everyone is trying to do the same thing. They try to destroy the order of capitalism. I'm not sure how to explain this in terms of isms, but I mean, I have a lot of questions about what I call centralism. I still have a lot to learn, but there's something that shocked me really badly, that made me think, yes, PewDiePie is definitely a win personality. PewDiePie definitely has cruelty, kind of signs of cruelty. And there's something has to be done about this. I will dive deep into this, figure out what PewDiePie, how can I affect PewDiePie in the first place? How can I try and destroy him, destroy his career? And that seems like a very naughty thing to do, but, you know, you want to destroy evil people. If you find any evil, you want to destroy it as fast as possible. So I think Naruto is also on the same wind personality position, because he was destroyed by Hinata. I think he was destroyed, definitely getting into a relationship that he didn't actually liked to go into, and just Hinata just took him and just punched him in the face, basically. But it was super effective. Now, I'm not sure why Naruto liked Sakura that much, because Sakura seems to have a fire element and he has a wind element, and neither of them are good at beating each other up, so to speak. And this is weird, right? There are so many nuances about relationships, but this is what shocked me. PewDiePie's name holds a simple story. Try to figure out what it is, right? I'll give you like 10 seconds to figure out. But here it is. I'm spoiling it right now. Pew. He's shooting a laser. He's focus control on something. He kills the person. He obliterates the person. Let me show an example. Right about now. Kill a person. Ouch. And he gets a pie for that. Huh. Now I can celebrate. I get a pie. I get a reward. That's the strategy. Now, the idea, again, is not to break any laws. He has to do it without breaking the system, but bending around and still breaking the system in a way, right? But not breaking any rules that are already established. So that his strategy is supposed to be, right? Shoot down someone and get the reward. And it seems like so obvious to me right now, but it really shocked me that, you know, in his name, he already basically praises cruelty. So I think it's a definition of his personality. I think there's a lot deeper evil that you can actually dig out and counter and destroy his career and benefit the whole humanity, because if he's doing something evil, well, he is, suppressing something good. So what I'll have to do is figure out Hinata's personality, Shikamaru's personality, Shikamaru versus Temari, what happened there, if there's anything I can learn. I will investigate Pewdiepie himself, what he's doing. I mean, I'm subscribed, I'm watching, I'm slowly trying to uncover his secret. I mean, one of the secrets, I think, is offensive jokes that he makes, because he can specifically target a specific audience that would get offended from his jokes, but get really crippling offended. And this is why he likes memes. He likes to figure out and put together some jokes that are really offensive for some people, really deep hitting, Maybe. That's a speculation. All of this is a speculation. But I like when patterns come together, and this is one of those big ones that are very scary. And we have to do something about it, so think about it, alright? Ninja School signing out, episode 2. In the next episode, we're gonna dive even deeper into this whole charade.